What's going on, guys? Murph's YT13 here, and we are back for another WWE match of the week and my Raw review. This week's Raw was fantastic. Let's get right into it. We started off with a Paul Heyman promo. Again, I've said it every week, I may as well say it again. He's the greatest of all time. Heyman says he can't wait for Sunday. His promos make any Brock Lesnar appearance absolutely must see, because he builds him up to this point where you think, well, how is he ever going to get beaten? Because Paul Heyman in this promo mentioned the fact that when he went in as a challenger to the UFC, to Randy Couture, he beat Randy Couture. When he went in as a young guy against The Rock, he beat The Rock, and he goes on and on. It was brilliant. And he builds up Brock Lesnar to the point where you think, this guy is unbeatable. And he practically is, and that's what makes this match so intriguing. However, he gets interrupted by Seth Rollins. He says he can't wait for Sunday to wipe the smile off Lesnar's face. He botched his promo a little bit, but he recovered really well because I think it plays to his character. I thought that was really good, the way he sort of recovered, because he's clearly rattled, and he played into that as well. He says he's the real champ, and Lesnar is a thug, a criminal, and a vandal. Says he's going to burn Suplex City to the ground. Lesnar said, the best line of the night, I can take you to Suplex City tonight, bitch. And this was great stuff. Kane then announced that there's a contract signing for later on in the night. Heyman brings up that Kane is Undertaker's baby brother. I thought that was fantastic. I think baby brother was trending at one point on Twitter. Great segment. It sets up the contract signing for later on in the night, and we all know how that goes. It never goes well. We then went on to the first match of the night. Randy Orton and the Ryback versus Sheamus and the Big Show. I was actually pretty impressed by this match, and I've been pretty impressed by Ryback over the last few weeks. He's been really upping his game lately. He's incredibly athletic for a guy of his size. Really good wrestling in this match. Really hard hitting and entertaining. All these guys can really go, but it does have a little hint of, oh, well, I've already seen this before. Sometimes that doesn't matter, but I'm not really into the Randy Orton, Sheamus stuff, but Ryback and Miz and Big Show, they sort of have my attention purely based on the work of Ryback. I think he's been fantastic. I think the Intercontinental title has given him a real lift in terms of his moveset and things like that. He's jumping over the top rope, he's doing all this sort of stuff, and it's really entertaining. And the crowd are really behind him, and he's doing a great job with that Intercontinental title. He is slowly but surely turning me around. I was not a fan when he first got it. The finish of the match, RKO into a big splash, was a pretty cool finish. Good way to kick off the show. The crowd was really into the end of the match because these guys are good wrestlers. They're seasoned. They're good. They know how to get the crowd on side by the end of a match. Miz ended up being chased out the back. That is what it is. It's a little bit of comedy. Miz is just going to be the middleman. Would not be surprised to see Miz sneak off with the Intercontinental title, but I almost hope that they keep it on Ryback because I think he's been fantastic. We then moved on to Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt, or so we thought. We were moving on to Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt. Reigns attacked Bray Wyatt before the match. They had a good brawl in and around the ring, and that was it. It was pretty standard, but Reigns got his stuff in. This was very interesting because I was really looking forward to the Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt match. It didn't happen, so literally the only screen time Dean Ambrose got was doing his entrance, looking out into the crowd, and I don't even think he got on camera while Bray was making his entrance. So I don't even know if Dean Ambrose was in the ring when Roman Reigns attacked Bray Wyatt, because we didn't see him. It was weird, because wouldn't you help your friend beat up this guy who's been giving him problems? I would have thought so. Ambrose is literally being used as a prop for another feud, which backs up what I've been saying for weeks. We need to find this guy something to do, otherwise he will melt into obscurity, and that's a real shame. It's a real shame any time R-Truth and King Barrett get more time in a match on primetime TV than what Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose do. It was a real shame. We then moved on to what was easily the best segment of the show. We have Nikki Bella in the ring. She says that she's the definition of fearless. She says that she's the total diva and that she runs the place, she runs the Divas division. We then get her interrupted by Stephanie McMahon. Nice little rare appearance for Stephanie in the ring. It does give a lot of legitimacy when Stephanie McMahon comes down or Triple H comes down. You know that there's going to be a big announcement. You know it's a big deal. She says that she owns the WWE. She runs the division. I thought it was a little bit strange, the dynamic, because I always thought Stephanie was a heel. She's part of the Authority. She's been the bane in a lot of the babyfaces' existence for a long time. But, however, it was good because we got the result we all wanted. Stephanie came out. She punks out the Bellas. She says that the WWE Divas division needs a lift. It needs more competition. She introduces Paige. Paige comes out. Everyone was sort of expecting Paige to come out. I did read on Twitter that there was the potential for some big debuts on this show. We got just that, because after Paige, we had Becky Lynch come out. Almost to a little bit of disappointment, but I think people still expected what was going to happen later on. I love Becky Lynch. I think she's absolutely great. She's a great wrestler. Her match with Sasha Banks has really obviously put her over the edge, and they've got a lot of faith in her now. It was a great way to showcase her. She comes out, makes her entrance. Then we get Charlotte, who gets introduced, and she gets a monster pop. I know a lot of it's got to do with her dad and who her dad is, but she really makes the most of it, and she's phenomenal. She's going to be a huge star, and she, along with this next girl that got introduced for her debut, will revolutionise the Divas division again, much like Lita and Trish did. Then Naomi interrupts Charlotte and Paige and Becky Lynch and the Bellas and Stephanie. She says that she is all the competition that the Divas division needs. She's got it all. Stephanie says, I'm glad you're out here because I have someone who thinks just like you. And then we get the introduction of the boss, Sasha Banks. I was really enjoying what they had done here. Bella's caught between everyone, and then we have a full pull-apart brawl. It breaks down everywhere. People are bumping like crazy. We end up with the Divas, all with their submissions on the three top girls in the company. And they've hit the big reset button. I thought it was interesting that they had 3 groups of 3, giving us clear, definitive lines of who the faces are, who the heels are. It was great. It was all really, really fantastic. We then moved on to the next match. New Day versus Primetime Players and Mark Henry. Great heel promo from New Day. I say every week, these guys are fantastic. They went the old school route of sledging the town. It was awesome. They got great heat. Then we got the Primetime Players introducing their tag team partner, Mark Henry. I don't even know if this guy knows if he's heel or face, but he always gets that ooh sort of pop out of the crowd because everyone still sees him as having credibility as an ass kicker. It was a decent match. It ends with the World's Strongest Slam. PTP grabbed Mark Henry for a millions of dollars dance. I missed the Hall of Pain Mark Henry, I'm not going to lie. I want him to be a badass. I half hoped that he would turn on them and drop them both where they stood, but I understand that Mark Henry probably isn't as relevant as he maybe should be. We then got the never-ending feud, King Barrett versus R-Truth. I honestly was stunned that they were going down this route again. R-Truth actually beat Barrett with the lie detector. Cole didn't know the name of it until they fed it to him in his headphones. Truth puts the crown back on and we look like we're going around in circles again. It's stupid, but we're going to get the final match on the pre-show at Battleground. I think that match could be used so much better. You could have so much better match than R-Truth versus Barrett. Whatever, we'll move on. We then cut to a clip of Rusev destroying Ziggler. I reckon it's really, really smart they're keeping Dolph off TV. Hopefully it gives him a chance to come back fresher, new look, Lana with new look, maybe get some training into Lana, set it up for Summer Rae versus Lana or a tag match, whatever way you want to go with it. I'm into it, as long as they can sort of freshen Ziggler up a bit, because I think he's been getting a little bit stale. We then moved on to probably what was the second best segment of the night, the John Cena Open Challenge. I was surprised because Rusev answered the challenge, and I was even more surprised because he's now wearing boots. Owens then interrupts Rusev. Then Owens cuts a small promo. He gets interrupted by Cesaro. I won't go into it. It was a great segment. The match is then made after we come back from the break. A triple threat match. Rusev, Owens and Cesaro. The winner faces John Cena immediately after for the US title. Cena spent the whole match sitting on commentary, putting over everybody, saying that Rusev, Cesaro and Owens, they're the future. I thought that was fantastic to have the most legitimized guy, the biggest star in the company, saying that these guys are the future of the company. Fantastic way to do it. I'm not going to go into the match because it was so long and there was so much that happened. Owens bailed on the match halfway through, said he'll see Cena on Sunday. We then had Cesaro and Rusev. They went back and forth. It was absolutely fantastic. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. Rusev eventually beat Cesaro. I have absolutely no problem with that. I know a lot of people on Twitter had a lot of problems with that, saying, oh, he's been buried. Cesaro hasn't been buried, provided they do something with him next week. Then, after that match, that awesome triple threat match, we had Cena versus Rusev. I thought there was a pretty strange dynamic. Rusev, the underdog, Cena, the fresh guy. It was really hard for Cena to sort of be a good guy in this match because he was just merely picking Rusev apart. Cena dominated most of the match. Rusev snapped on the accolade. Then Kevin Owens comes out, super kick to the side of the head for Rusev. Ends the match. Pop-up powerbomb to Rusev. Good way to have Owens look strong and to finish out, round out a segment that was overall absolutely excellent. It showcased everybody. Cena on commentary was good. Isn't it funny as well how good wrestling can make the time pass so much? A really great wrestling segment like that one, with good storytelling and matches with consequence, makes the time go quicker, because I didn't realise, but I'd been already watching Raw for nearly 2.5 hours by this stage and hadn't really even noticed. Usually it's a bit of a chore, usually it's really tough going, but I thought overall so far the show was absolutely fantastic. We then got the triumphant return of Stardust. It was a good promo, I thought. He's got a lot of his father about him, Cody Rhodes. His diction and his speaking is outstanding. I just wish they would translate that to something a little bit more believable. I really was hoping that they would bring back Cody and it wouldn't be Stardust, because I think this character is a little bit bland, stale. Nobody really believes it. Nobody cares. Everyone wants to see Cody. He then had a match with Neville. Neville offered a handshake. And I thought, okay, so maybe we're going to see Stardust come out and he's going to be a good guy, because people want to cheer for him. They want to cheer for Cody Rhodes. Didn't happen. He got the jump on Neville. They had a pretty good match. The crowd just seemed really confused because they don't want to boo this guy. He's just lost his father very publicly. Yet he's trying to hiss at them, and everybody wants to cheer him. When he bowed to the crowd and things like that, the crowd was clapping. Nobody's booing him. I thought it was you've got to have your finger on the pulse when it comes to this sort of thing. After that, we had the final segment of the show, the contract signing. Rollins comes out first. He says he's not afraid of Brock Lesnar. I think Rollins' promos are pretty strong. He looks much better by himself without being flanked by a million people. You need to legitimize him as his own man, and I think Battleground provides the perfect platform for that. Heyman and Lesnar come out. Heyman cut a brilliant promo on how Rollins will get his ass kicked. Lesnar then pushed the contract over towards Seth Rollins. He signs, then Lesnar signs, and then Seth Rollins' hands sort of go wandering, and Paul Heyman pulls him up and says, hey, hands where I can see him. Lesnar then, so violently, this guy is so unpredictable, flips the table over, looks down, picks up an axe handle, and then put the table back over and sat the axe handle down so Seth Rollins could grab it. I thought this was fantastic because it just shows that Lesnar just is begging for Seth Rollins to make a move so he can get his hands on him. It was absolutely fantastic. Lesnar grabbed the table, threw it at Seth Rollins. There was a bit of a brawl. It looks as though they're going to get on top of Lesnar when all of a sudden he flips out. F5 Kane's on the floor. Rollins ran away. Lesnar turns to Kane because he's got to take it out on someone. Lesnar smashes Kane's ankle with the stairs, completely taking him out. Very, very smart move to take Kane out of the equation and just have a one-on-one match. It's a great way to get Seth Rollins on his own. Lesnar made it look great. Lesnar then leaves. Rollins comes back, looking pretty terrified. Then after the coast is clear, Rollins cuts a really good promo, severing seemingly all ties with all of the authority. I think they've done it well because it's Rollins' own doing that's pulling him apart. It's the fact that he's an impossible egomaniac that could bring about his own demise. I really hope it doesn't. I really hope this is a way of getting Rollins by himself so he then realizes that he doesn't need anybody else and he legitimately can win by himself, because then you are setting him up to be the #1 heel in the company. This was great. I thought it was a great way to just completely sever ties with Kane, because there's absolutely no possible way that Kane will forgive Seth Rollins for this, and it takes Kane off TV for a while. Who knows, he may even come back with the mask as a face to face Seth Rollins for maybe one last run towards the end of the year or something like that. That might be an idea. But that's it. That's my Raw review for another week. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've liked this video, drop a like. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. And as always, for Murph's YT13, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate everything and everybody's input. And I'll catch you on the next one.